Welcome to the bi-weekly podcast that explores all that is myth, legend, and folklore in Scotland. Join me, Ryan, in discovering tales from Galloway to Shetland and from the Hebrides to Peterhead. This is Finding Folklore. There are a few things that can inspire fear and intrigue, like a locked door, hidden chambers, and secret passageways. What lies beyond could contain all the horrors that lie just beyond our imaginations. One such historic location may have just this, and was said to be the talk of European aristocracy from the mid-1400s until the 1940s. 500 years of hushed words, barely spoken whispers, rumours, and maybe even supernatural occurrences. Today we are going to investigate the monstrous goings-on of a castle in Angus, which has been the site to over 1,000 years of history, Glamis Castle. The construction of Glamis Castle as we know it today started in the year 1400, but its historical significance started well before then, being built on a Pictish site with artefacts dating back to the 8th century. Since then, many pivotal events in the country's history took place here, including the murder of King Malcolm II in 1034, Macbeth becoming King of Scotland in 1040, Malcolm III deposing Macbeth in 1057, and Robert the Bruce taking Glamis Castle back under the protection of the Crown from the English supporting a loyal family in 1329. After the castle's modern construction in 1400, the castle's part in the country's formation continued. In 1537, Lady Glamis, Janet Douglas, was found guilty of treason after false accusations of trying to poison King James V. In 1562, Mary Queen of Scots visited Glamis Castle on her way north to quell a rebellion. In 1650, during the War of the Three Kingdoms, Oliver Cromwell occupied the castle and used it as a station for his troops. In 1716, the Jacobite king James Stuart visits the castle. Sir Walter Scott visited the castle in 1793. In 1900, Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon is born. She was raised at Glamis Castle and would go on to give birth to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who would reign from 1952 until her death in 2022. More in future episodes about all of these historical figures. As you might imagine then, with such a historic location, the castle, like any other, has its share of legends and ghost stories. But uniquely, this castle boasts tales of vampirism, monsters, curses, and games with the devil. One such tale involves Alexander Lindsay, the 4th Earl of Crawford, better known as Earl Beardy. It was the mid-15th century and the Earl was determined to play cards, but it was the Sabbath and no one would play with him. In a rage, he exclaimed, "Then I shall play with the devil." With that, a stranger in black appeared at the castle and happily played cards with the Earl. First, the stranger won the Earl's money, then the Earl's soul, and eventually the stranger condemned the Earl to play cards until the end of days. Some say the Earl passed away in the year 1453. Others say this was the year he was locked in a secret room within the castle, where he would play cards for all eternity. Another story takes place in the 1800s, where a group of guests were visiting the castle. After a meal, the guests began to explore the grounds, but returned to find a vampire that had disguised itself as a maid drinking the blood of one of the guests. Horrified, the guests and the Strathmore family, who by this point owned the castle, rounded up the vampire and managed to imprison her within a secret chamber in the castle, where for hundreds of years she's lived and waited, unable to feed and yet unable to die. One day, someone will free her, and she will hunt and feed again. Another similar tale in the early 1800s is the first son of the 11th Earl of Strathmore was born. He was born deformed and monstrous, with a large hairy torso and razor-sharp teeth. The true heir to the Strathmore estate in Glamis Castle became known as the Monster of Glamis. The Earl and his wife decided to keep the birth of their monstrous child a secret, with only those necessary in the know of his condition. The child would grow to drink blood, and after a while the Earl decided it was best the boy should be locked away for the safety of anyone who would visit the castle. And so the creature was put in a hidden room within the castle that can only be reached by secret chambers. To everyone's surprise, the monster did not die, but continued to live on. The estate was passed on to his younger sibling and moved throughout generations. As each new Earl of Strathmore reached the age of 21, they are told the family secret about the rightful heir to the Strathmore fortune. Some say the monster died at some point between the 1920s and the 1940s. Others say it still lives in the castle today, being sustained on the blood of visitors by those who care for it. Alternate versions of this tale state that every generation, the lord of the estate will have a vampiric child that will need to be locked away within the hidden chambers in this castle. While the existence of the monster, the vampire maid, or the cursed earl have not been proven, there are records of a secret chamber somewhere within the castle, and it is said that the wife of the 12th earl, around 1877, tried to find the secret of the chamber and what lay within it. So she set her friends a task to open every window in the castle and hang a sheet or towel from it. Once the task had been completed, they beheld 4 windows that remained shut. The Countess reasoned that these were the hidden rooms. Upon broaching the subject with her husband, he promptly divorced her, and the Countess spent the remainder of her days in Italy. It is rumoured that the 13th Earl of Strathmore, Claude Beaulieu, said, "If you could guess the nature of this castle's secret, you would get down on your knees and thank God it was not yours." If you ever go to Glamis Castle, make sure not to wander off alone. You don't want to end up trapped in a secret chamber where no one will hear you scream. Let me know in the comments your favourite tale of vampirism. Like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and join me for our next episode in 2 weeks' time. Until then, may the devil walk behind you. Bye for now.